going to be talking about is on film understanding and eye movement, the impact of task on comprehension, and similarity. Okay. So I'm just going to start with a broad statement. We all watch movies. They're everywhere. We all like them. We all seem to understand them. But an important question is how we understand movies. And we're going to be looking at whether eye movements might be able to tell us something about this. So let me just state that what you pay attention to can affect your comprehension. But can your comprehension affect what you pay attention to? And if we have a twist and approach to our study, can your comprehension affect your eye movement? Okay, so a classic study by Yarbus found that there's top-down task effect in eye movements when people are looking at images, such that when people are discerning different elements of an image, their eye movements are different. If they have to determine the people's age or what they're wearing, their eye movements are different. Research in reading has shown that that comprehension influences eye movements, such that people have to go back and forth in the reading, depending on how much they understand. But what about in film viewing? Well, there's an important concept, a bottom-up concept called attentional synchrony, and it states that the gaze of viewers is highly coordinated due to film making techniques. I'm going to show you an example of how this works. This is by Tim Smith, one of our collaborators. The areas in color is where people are looking at, and the little circles that you see is where people are clustering their fixations. And what you see is that people are generally looking at the things that are important. The cat's face, the cat's boots, and they're doing it at the same time. This is attentional synchrony. So if people look at the same places at the same time, this may wash out the effects of having different comprehension on eye movements. And so there's not a lot of work that has been done on this, but our lab conducted a study looking at this, and they found small effects of comprehension on eye movements. Now I'll tell you that they used a James Bond clip that was very high in this attentional synchrony concept. It had a lot of motion, a lot of cuts, typically just one thing to look at. So if we have weaker bottom-up film features, is it going to allow for differences in eye movements based on comprehension? So what are some film features, bottom-up features that we could weaken? These are things like the number of things to look at and the amount of cuts that there are in film. So for stimulus, we use Orson Welles opening a scene of his movie Touch of Evil, hence the name of the presentation. So I'm not going to show you the entire clip, but I'm going to show you the most important features of it. So you begin by looking at a bomb, which a man places into the trunk of a car, then unknowingly to a couple. They get on the car, then the car begins to drive along, and then a walking couple is introduced. Then the car and the walking couple kind of start moving in the same direction, and you can tell that there's a lot of things to look at. There's people, and there are carts moving, and there are things to read, pillars. There's a lot of goats. And then the car and the walking couple meet at this checkpoint. The car with the bomb drives away, and then the walking couple kiss. What's going to happen next? The bomb goes off. You understand the clip. Great, great, good. Okay, so we manipulate comprehension by having two groups. The context group sees the entire clip. They begin by seeing the bomb, which is placed into a car, and then the no context group begins to watch the clip by looking at the couple. That's the first thing they see. They know anything. They know nothing about the bomb. They don't see the bomb. And then the clip keeps moving along, and then both groups are asked what will happen next. Okay, so we have two competing hypotheses. Remember that comprehension has been shown to influence eye movement. So our mental model hypothesis states that comprehension of film is going to guide viewers' attention, and the tyranny of film hypothesis states that attentional synchrony will wash out differences in eye movement based on comprehension. Okay, so here we have our demographic information. For our variables, our dependent variables, we have the inference about the bomb. So mentioning something about the car going off, or the bomb going off, or the bomb explosion, something like that. Gaze similarity and region of interest, namely the car, because that's where the bomb is. The car is hot. The car is important. Okay, results. Here we have probably we're making the inference. The context group significantly more likely to make the right inference about the bomb compared to the no context group. And we even divided the context group by those that made the right inference about the bomb and those that didn't make the right inference about the bomb. Okay, so we would expect this. And there's nothing particularly important about this. But what it gives us, it's a clear difference in how people are understanding the film. So now that we have established this comprehension difference, we can look at whether their movements are different. That's what we have here. Gaze similarity in the y-axis, time in the x-axis, no context group in orange, context group in green and blue. We see that their gaze is largely overlapping. They're largely looking at the same things at the same time. So participants had similar levels of attentional synchrony despite their differences in comprehension. Proportion of looks at the car, that's what we have here in the y-axis and time in the x-axis. No context in orange, context in blue and green. We find that they're largely looking at the car at the same time, except when the no context group looks, when the car first appears in the scene for the no context group, the context group is significantly more likely to look at it compared to the no context group. For the no context group, the car is just sort of in the background, it's not important. Find significant differences there, but just then. Okay, some preliminary conclusions. The tyranny of film is supported. This attentional synchrony is guiding people's eye movements regardless of the comprehension. And that's basically what we've seen so far. Comprehension doesn't show a strong top-down effect on eye movements, and we thought that this was surprising because we tried to lower attentional synchrony, yet we couldn't find that. So what would it take to turn down or turn off this attentional synchrony? So that's what we did next. We had the same clip, the participants watched the entire clip, and they're told at the beginning they're going to have to draw a map of the scene once they're done. And at the end, they're asked what will happen next, just as before. Okay, demographic information here. What the map test represents is a strong cognitive task manipulation, and we expect it to affect attentional synchrony. Probability of making the inference here. And then, very important, we compared the map test group to the context group of the previous experiment, and we looked for differences that way. Context group is significantly more likely to make the right inference about the bomb compared to the map group. We find an effect of attention on comprehension. In terms of the gaze similarity, we find that they're not really looking at the same things at the same time anymore. They're not looking at the same things here. So we have context group in blue and map group in orange. Not really looking at the same things here, not here, not here, and it's significant. Okay, this high-level task manipulation can affect attentional synchrony. In terms of fixations or looks at the car, we have context in blue, map in orange. We find that they're not looking at the car at the same time anymore, not here, not here, not here, really not here. They really are here, but overall, they're not looking at the car at the same time anymore, and it's significant. Okay, in conclusion, so we find that experiment one showed us that attentional synchrony mostly washes out differences in eye movements based on comprehension. Experiment 2 showed us that differences in film comprehension only affect eye movements when the viewer must consciously control what they're looking at. So, when you watch movies, everybody is looking at the same things at the same time regardless of the comprehension, except when you consciously control what you're looking at. I really want to thank Lester Loschke for being the primary investigator here, but really, and most of all, Jen Hudson for being the driving force and allowing me to get involved in this experiment. I really want to thank him, and also the grad student Maverick Smith, and our collaborators Joe Magliano and Tim Smith. Thanks.